Hello everyone, this is a Craftsman LT1000. This was a freebie. This was on the side of the road. People a few blocks away were moving, so they were just throwing it out. It does run, but I believe it needs a new battery, and the starter acts up. Kind of likes to stick. I might be able to spray some WD-40 or a little bit of white lithium grease or something down it, get it to stop doing that. But the deck, the blades and the deck will not engage, and I think it's just that belt right there not being on that pulley. So I'm gonna try and move that and see if that's what the problem is. Got that belt back on the pulley. I think that belt needs to be replaced. There's a bit of slack in it. Now, as you can see, the wheel turn, I'm not gonna spin it up full speed. I'm standing right next to it. I actually need to mow the lawn, so I'm gonna go do that now. So, oh, what's this? That's water. So, I'm noticing another thing. It looks like, I want to say that this spring is supposed to be back there. Or maybe it's not. But I think that this is way too loose. I really think also that the belt needs to be replaced. I think that's the main thing. I just had to reseat it again. So maybe I just leave it engaged. So I was able to mow the front. I got a call, so I had to stop the mower, and the battery still will not start. I've just been keeping the deck the same height as the drive pulley. So the belt needs to be replaced because there's way too much slack in it. Also, whenever I go over a thick patch of grass, it will stop the blades. So that looks like it needs a new belt. Okay, so I pulled the battery out and now I'm charging it. This battery might be good. It may have just sat for so long. I don't really know how to test if that lawnmower is charging the battery. Whenever I was messing with it, I had the lawnmower on when I took the terminal off, and I mean, I did feel it, you know, zapping me a bit, but with my multimeter I get 0, so I don't know if my multimeter just can't read that or what. So I got the battery that came with it back in there. It seems like it's running fine, and it starts now. I charged it for a couple hours. I think that's all it was. That battery's only about a year old, so it should still be pretty good. I'm not going to be mowing at night, but I figured out the light problem. That was just unplugged. Turn on the lights. Now they're on. Of course, I had that one out and I broke the phone getting it out, so I'm trying to replace it. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure why that was unplugged, but that fixed that issue. Forgot that I had some LEDs. They look like they're blinking on the camera, but that's just because it's not synced up. But I went ahead and replaced those. They don't look quite as good as the incandescent, but hey, lights work. All right, so I got a new belt on there. It's a 1/2 inch by 95. Even though Lowe's sold the belts that were specifically for Craftsman mowers, they're for the Stanley Black & Decker Craftsman stuff, and though the closest I could find was 95.5 inches, and from what I could tell online, this required a 95-inch belt. So now the belt doesn't slip off. Looking back at that clip, I realized I made it sound like I couldn't find the right size belt at Lowe's. I bought this at Lowe's. It's just not the one that says Craftsman on it. It's the generic 1/2 inch by 95 inch belt. They sell them there, and this is, you know, what the lawnmower calls for. This cover is supposed to be this way. Yeah. Need to find some self-tapping screws and get that nice and straight. Does the other side have one? Guess not, because it's further in. But so now pretty much everything works on it. Other little things. I need to make a extension for this so I'm not having to jam my finger all the way down in there. I think what I'll probably do is get a wooden dowel and glue it on there, or a piece of plastic if I can find one. Push in, it's just kind of awkward to grab, like that. All right, I took 2 self-tapping screws and put that pulley guard back on, so now it's a little bit safer than it was. Keep in mind, this thing still doesn't have a parking brake. The engine shut-off switch has been disabled in that seat. But yeah, I could only find a 10mm bolt and an 11mm bolt, so they're a little bit different, but that's okay. They still hold. Because one of the little rubber pieces on the hood had fallen off at one point, kind of rattled a little bit on one side. So since the other one was about to fall off, I actually just pulled it off, cut it in half, and then hot glued it on both sides, so now there's rubber on both sides again. All right, so now I'm gonna address the issue with this lever here, and I think I might use this little finial type thing here and just hot glue it on, but first I'm either going to find a way to drill a hole in it or cut it flush, but either way, it doesn't matter. It's not like it's gonna make it any worse. All right, so that seems like it worked pretty well. I cut down the piece of plastic that was still left there, and there was a little bit of a spring that stuck out, so I left that sticking out, and then I just filled up this finial with hot glue, and now it works. I'm not having to shove my finger all the way down in there. So I found out that the parking brake lever was actually just shoved behind the panel here, and I'm trying to figure out why it won't latch. I think the metal might be broken, might be busted out. Yeah, it kind of looks like it is. Maybe I can weld something new there, or I'm not sure what, just so it'll work, but at least the lever's not scratching up the inside and messing with wires. Yeah, it looks like someone bent the metal out of the way and disabled the parking brake. So what I'm gonna do is bend that metal back and re-enable the parking brake, because we've got hills in our yard, and if I ever need to use the parking brake, it'd be nice to. The parking brake now works, is once again operational. So when I push that lever down, it goes back in there. Now I'll start reassembling it, and now that I got the steering wheel off, maybe I'll see if I can get it straight, because it wants to fall off the mower. All right, so I gave it a quick clean, and it's pretty much all done. All the major issues that it had. Parking brake's fixed, the button on the lever is fixed. Lights are fixed. Got a new belt, fixed the guard. Only spent about 20 bucks on this mower in total. So I'd say that's a pretty good deal. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.